Hey y'all, it's Nomadic Shaman here. Thank you for visiting my page. Today's video, I plan on making it brief, but the focus point is I want to share a revelation and I want to share a couple of downloads with you all. The first being, for those who are currently experiencing gang stalking, both physically and spiritually, simultaneously, okay, who are facing both physical crimes and spiritual crimes by way of black magic, dark magic, baneful magic being done with negative intention, and death rituals would be an example, right? And also physical crimes. So if anyone experienced identity fraud, insurance fraud, stolen inheritances, and you've made reports, you've reached out for assistance, and you're still waiting for the cog to move. I don't even speak like that. That got to be one of my ancestors, y'all. But anyways, you're waiting for some type of movement because you haven't seen much or it's been very slow moving despite how many reports that you've done or how many people that you've reached out to for assistance. My guides are telling me that there's a lot of, well, one, we're already aware that there's a lot of spiritual warfare, but there's a lot of magic that's being done to delay and detour. Yes, that pretty much we are aware of that, but I'm talking specifically as it relates to the law enforcement, the judges, and as well as the lawyers who are making headway in these cases. And it doesn't even have to be specific to gang stalking. It could be any type of physical crime that is combined with the spiritual crime and attempt to get away with the physical crime. Okay, I've spoken about this in a couple of my videos, but it was shared with me that this was done purposely. And what was brought to my attention is that the reason why the reason why this is allowed to happen, more specifically to the law enforcement and to these judges and the lawyers and the cops that hold or contain that archangel Michael energy as far as upholding justice for the ones who've been wronged, right? Is that the reason why it's being done outside of delaying and detouring is to bring a spotlight of black magic being done and baneful magic being done and them being personally affected by it so that they can no longer look at it as woo-woo, right? Because oftentimes in this type of field, folks who relay or focus solely on data and facts would look at an energy worker, reader, or healer more oftentimes as a pseudoscience. Okay, metaphysical science is pseudoscience, but they didn't catch up with that yet. That's neither here or there. I don't want to, I digress. My main focus point for making this video is to share with you all that yes, it is intentional. And it's intentional so that these individuals who are upholding justice can witness it for themselves. Because as they're making headway, these covens, cults, societies, whoever, practitioners, whoever's being paid to do spiritual work on these individuals that are making headway in these cases, are personally affected by it to the point where they can no longer deny that magic isn't real, magic isn't woo woo, and how a person or individual can truly be affected by it mentally, emotionally, and physically. This is something that we all know as folks who work within the spiritual sector, right? But the folks or the individuals who focus on the black and white, the data, the facts, their perspective tends to show it as being woo woo, a pseudoscience. Okay, that is not proven fact, which is the reason why many of us have to say that disclaimer, right, whenever we make videos. But the reason why this is being done is so that there will be new laws to affect change when it comes to folks doing black magic, baneful magic, okay? This is coming down the pipeline, okay? But Spirit told me that they had to wake the lawmakers, the law changers, they had to wake their eyes up so that they can experience it for themselves, so that they can make changes within the laws when it comes to folks who are adversely affected by spell work, at least in America. Okay. So I asked my grandma who's passed on, what can I do? What can people do who may be in a similar situation as I am, in the sense where have experienced spiritual crimes of the innocent and have also experienced physical crimes, identity fraud, insurance fraud, stolen inheritance. You guys know the spiel. And my ancestor said, pray. And she said, pray for protection. Pray that they have lucidity and clarity in mind. Pray that they're not harshly, adversely affected as they continue to do their work to uphold and bring justice. This is something that you guys can also speak to your own spiritual guides about. But that's what my spiritual team had informed me. And even said I could even go as far as to extend my protection to some of these individuals within the justice system, should I choose, so that they won't be harmed in or adversely affected by the magic itself. But it was also told to me that, remember, everything's intentional. And this is done for a reason, to wake their eyes up so that laws can start changing as it relates to this, okay? So that's the one thing that I wanted to share. One last thing that I did want to leave you with, or maybe two. For those who practice ancestral veneration, I do, okay? And give offerings to your ancestors, your bloodline, as far as those who have come before you. And you're looking for something, well, this is something that you can speak to your spiritual team. But one thing I wanted to make clear is, don't estimate the gift of prayer, because your spiritual team does one hell of a job in protecting you and guiding you and healing you. And a prayer of gratitude, a prayer of strength, a prayer of protection is just as a big offering as anything else, probably even more so. Okay. When it versus money, or fruits. I mean, go ahead and do you. That's like your personal relationship. But the main reason why I wanted to say this is because I just wanted to drive home the point that praying for your ancestors is a way to honor them for bringing you healing and guidance and protection is just as effective and is just as effective and is also a gift that they appreciate. Okay. I wanted to say that. And then the last thing that I wanted to share, because I had to write it down. I came across this one YouTube video and I caught a snippet of it. And there was this one woman. Hold on. My guys are telling me something. Let me go back to the prayer thing. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to pray, but as you pray, and especially if your voice carries and it has a weight in the physical, that means it has a weight in the spiritual with conviction. So when you pray and you do prayers of gratitude for your ancestors, that is a gift that is appreciated, okay? So that's what I want to drive home. It weighs heavy in the spirit. That's what I want to drive home. But one thing that I also wanted to mention, this will probably be the last thing in this video, is as I was looking at different YouTube videos, y'all, I fell on this one particular video and I caught a snippet of it on accident, on purpose. And this woman, if I find her video, I'll put her information down below. But I had to write it down because it was a gem for me. And she said, "No truth is truer than your truth. Just because you didn't experience it doesn't mean anyone else hasn't or won't." So I wanted to leave you with that food for thought and to let that marinate some. And until the next one, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.